If you have a large infestation of anything in your lawn and you attempt to kill it all off, it's almost crazy to think that you can get rid of 100% of it in one season. Guys, it's Brian with Turf Mechanic again. Way back over there on the other side of my lawn, I have a section of this green grass. That's an experiment that I did, a few weeks back. I've got a section of nice green grass way back behind the water table back there, my kid's water table, where I haven't cut it in a few weeks or so. It's really gangly. It's overgrown. Most of the green, I would say 98% or so of the green that you see back there is annual ryegrass. I want to deal with weeds in the annual ryegrass. Most likely in the year's future, I'm going to be overseeding my Bermuda grass with annual rye. So if I end up having weeds in the annual rye, I want to know the best way to deal with the weeds in the rye. Now, here in Southern California, if you look at some of my neighbors' lawns, you're going to find a lot of kikuyugrass. Where I live, kikuyugrass is very common. It's not common all over the country, but it is common in certain areas in the Southern Hemisphere, South Africa, Australia, and whatnot. If you live in the Pacific Southwest or Hawaii, you're also going to be battling with kikuyugrass. Quinclorac is one of those products that really stresses out and kills off a lot of kikuyugrass. It's not going to kill it all off in one application, but it will kill off a good amount of it, and it's certainly going to damage off some of the more established kikuyugrass. Over here on the lawn, I've been battling it, and I've been getting rid of almost all of it, but chances are very good that I have a little bit of kikuyugrass left over. During the summer, crabgrass can be killed with Quinclorac, and Quinclorac also goes after kikuyugrass. It also has the ability to kill off a lot of different kinds of broadleaf weeds. There's an airplane over my head, but I'm going to keep on going. If you look at the label of Quinclorac products, now I'm going to be putting down Quintessential, which is a fancy version of Quinclorac. If you look at the label, Quinclorac is supposed to be safe for annual ryegrass, but there's not a lot of demonstration of this available online. So when I look at YouTube and I look at people attempting to put down Quinclorac, I don't see anyone putting it down on annual ryegrass directly. So I wanted to do a very small section, this small little section way back there, just to test it out. I believe 100% that the label is accurate and that the annual ryegrass is not going to be damaged, but the weeds in the ryegrass will be. But I'm going to give it a good test before I put it over the rest of the lawn, because I do have a little bit of California burr clover that has persisted into this year. I killed off a lot of it last year. There's still a little bit left. Before I blanket spray the whole yard to get rid of the burr clover, I want to test it out back there. Let's see what happens. Here's my overgrown section. A little bit here in the shadow. A lot of overgrown ryegrass. Underneath, we've got some dormant Bermuda grass. We've got some weeds. We've got a little poa annua. We've got other kinds of broadleaf weeds. Good variety of them, actually. And if we get down really close, you're going to see some clover. That is a very young California burr clover. And if I were to go over here, you would find a lot of it mixed in to this low-cut turf. All right, I'm back in the garage. This is the product I'm going to be putting down. It's Quintessential. If you look at it up close, this is basically a Quinclorac. It's, I like to call it a fancy Quinclorac because it's meant to kill off crabgrass a little bit better. It's basically got some additives in there that make it work a little bit better than the Quinclorac that I have up there. This is the stuff that I used last year to kill off a lot of my crabgrass that I had in my front lawn. I'm sure it probably killed it off pretty good. However, I wouldn't be surprised if I still have some lingering issues this year, because that always happens. If you have a large infestation of anything in your lawn and you attempt to kill it all off, it's almost crazy to think that you can get rid of 100% of it in one season. Long story short, I believe that this is a little bit more expensive. It's probably going to be a little bit better at killing off weeds than the basic stuff over there. But I'll leave it up to you to decide which one is right for you, if either is right for you. I'll link to both in the description below. Today I'm going to be using this over on the annual rye just to see what happens. I'm pretty sure the weeds are going to die. The goal here today is to see if any damage whatsoever happens to the annual ryegrass. The reason for the test is because if anyone overseeds their warm season lawn with annual ryegrass throughout the winter, and then somewhere around like February, like late winter rolls around, and their warm season grass hasn't come out of dormancy, but you do have some early season weeds, can we use Quinclorac or a fancy version of Quinclorac, kill those weeds off efficiently without damaging the lawn? Let's go. All right, 8 days later, 8 days have come and gone. There's my patch back there. I still have grass. It's too early to really assess anything, but there is still grass there, and I'm finally going to cut that spot down. Quinclorac is not really supposed to kill things off instantly. Like if you spray it on, you're not supposed to see it within the first few days. Generally speaking, you should wait at least 2 weeks, if not 3. Certainly, it's encouraging to see that the annual ryegrass didn't die instantly. I didn't think it would. But once I mow it down, I'm just going to keep mowing it like regular. And then at least a week from now, day 15, 16, 17, something like that, I'll go and I'll start actually looking for weeds in the spot to see if any of them are dead. Hold on. Before I cut, look at that. What is that blade? That's kikuyugrass. See how different that is? Remember how I said Quinclorac goes after kikuyugrass? Look at the tip. I know it's early. We're only on day 8. That is yellowing up at the top and browning at the tip. Still a little kikuyu in there. That's why I want the Quinclorac to work. I don't want kikuyu in the lawn. All right, today is day 21. 21 days ago on February 28th, I went and I sprayed that little spot over there, kind of in the shadow of that shrub over there. I only used quintessential Quinclorac. Quinclorac is typically known, as I've said in this video, for being a post-emergent treatment for crabgrass. It also attacks kikuyugrass, which I do battle here on my lawn, but it also has the ability of attacking a handful of other weeds. As you can clearly tell behind me, it did nothing, no damage whatsoever to my annual ryegrass or winter ryegrass, depending on how you want to call it. That truly was the point of this video, this point of this experiment. So let's go take a look at the spot and see if any weeds were killed off. Most herbicides, if you wait 21 days, a full 3 weeks, you're going to see the full result of the application. Some things happen much faster. Some products are going to truly obviously work in 7 to 10 days. 21 days, almost everything will have worked if you're applying it in good weather. Now, since I've cut this, you can't tell as easily, but this is the line right here. So this space right here is where I applied the Quinclorac. Let's get down low. Now, I've already inspected this a little bit off camera to make this a little bit more palatable for you guys watching. There's still annual bluegrass, otherwise known as Poa annua here. I did not expect that to go away. There's some sprinkled throughout this whole area. Now this, I believe this is the exact weed that I showed earlier in the video. Notice that it is significantly damaged. A lot of this stuff has been like broken off, but we do still have brand new growth here. And we're actually kind of putting up kind of these little flower heads, seed head kinds of things. This plant did not die, and it's not going to die. It's going to keep growing and start coming back. Certainly it's been stunted, but it's coming back. This, in case you're wondering, is called stork's bill, or I believe this particular one is musky stork's bill from the shape of the leaf. This is just a taproot plant. So if you got tons of them, it's a little bit hard. But if you only got like one or two, oh, shoot, look at that. I was supposed to dramatically show you how awesome it was pulling that out of the ground, because the taproot is super duper long. And if you just get underneath it, you pull the thing straight out and it's gone. All right, well, I did kind of want to have that, a nice little dramatic pull. I do have some stork's bill other places, and I have on camera me pulling them straight out of the ground. So maybe I'll throw that on the screen here for you. But anyway, moving on. Here's another weed. This was just barely on the edge of where I sprayed. This, I believe, is red chickweed. Obviously, it is damaged, but it certainly doesn't look like it has died. This plant gets a lot bigger, a lot more annoying. I don't have very much of this in the lawn, but I do find it occasionally over here in kind of the non-lawn beds, and I pull it out of the ground. Thing is about both of those plants, when you really look up those specific weeds, Quinclorac is not the correct herbicide to attack them. So it makes perfect sense that they did not die. 2,4-D and some other three-way mixtures are better at killing both of those plants. Quinclorac, it's not going to do anything to those. All right, getting back down in here, we also see this right here? This looks like Bermuda grass slowly coming out of dormancy. So eventually all this annual rye is going to go away. Bermuda grass is going to take over. There's Bermuda grass sprinkled throughout the whole area here. If I go more into the sun, it's super easy to find the Bermuda grass. If I come back over here to my older test spot where I tried another herbicide just to see what would happen, it killed off a lot of the annual rye. And now over here, everything that you see green right here, this is all Bermuda grass that has come out of dormancy. So if you pan back and look at it, the Bermuda grass is really thriving over here in the sun. So over here in this shadier, cooler part of the lawn, it's lagging behind, but it's already coming out of dormancy already. Now, if you get down really close, you can see little stuff like this. Pretty sure that is baby burrweed growing up. I'm pretty sure I had some of that on camera from a few weeks ago when I took a look at this spot. There's a little bit sprinkled throughout. Burrweed is another one of those plants. There's some more right there. Here's a nice big one. This one's getting bigger. This will continue to overwhelm if it just kept on growing and you didn't pluck it out of the ground with your hand or spray with an herbicide or even just mow it a lot. But anyway, this burrweed is another 2,4-D target. So if you were applying 2,4-D by itself or some sort of broad spectrum herbicide that contained 2,4-D, all of these weeds would be gone. Again, this is another weed that Quinclorac does not touch, or at least it barely touches it. Now, there's potentially some more like this right here. This might be, let me get it in the shot. This might be more kikuyugrass here. I have to inspect it a little bit more. Certainly, I'm pretty sure I found some kikuyugrass in here. Quinclorac is going to damage kikuyugrass quite a bit. So if there's some in here, maybe that's some. Might just be a big annual ryegrass that I'm pulling out. In any event, there's going to be less kikuyugrass pressure in this tiny little spot because of the Quinclorac application. The most significant thing that I'm noticing here, other than the annual ryegrass is still alive, is I can't find clover in this area at all. And I could have guessed that, but I wasn't going to be sure until I actually did it. Now, there wasn't a lot of clover in this little spot to begin with, but obviously I put some clover on the camera. I found clover in there, and I do have burr clover throughout the lawn. Quinclorac is one of the best herbicides to kill clover. Now, I've got an entire test plot way over there, that bushy green over by the sidewalk. That is an overgrown, bushy version of California burr clover. I'm going to be applying a concoction of Quinclorac and triclopyr on that spot just to see how effective that cocktail is on dealing with clover. I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty awesome, pretty much the best just homeowner grade mix of stuff that you could get to kill clover off in the lawn. I'm going to have a whole video demonstrating that. But here alone, just using Quintessential, that fancy version of Quinclorac, I have a feeling any Quinclorac really would handle the clover just fine. But just that one single application of Quinclorac on this spot, I can't find clover anywhere. Anyway, that's a lot of talking about my little spot right here and my experimental findings. In the future, I don't think I'm going to have any concerns whatsoever using Quinclorac on my winter rye during the times of the year that the winter rye is growing and green, but everything else is dormant. So long as soil temperatures and air temperatures are high enough to support its application, I'm not going to worry about it damaging my winter lawn. Now, because it is middle of March, almost late March, while I'm filming this segment of this video right here, I can't show you crabgrass. It's not going yet. Right now, it's just barely germinating in yards across the country. You're not going to be able to find it. A little bit later in the year, you can find it very easily in lawns. It's one of those summer weeds that infests and just wreaks havoc on yards everywhere. If you want to learn more about identifying that crabgrass in the lawn, I got a video right up here. And if you want to learn about how to prevent that crabgrass, go into the description below. I've got multiple videos talking about preventing it in the first place.